Hello! This is Gym Buddies. You know who we all are. This is Train, of course.
Angry German.
My Money Mohammed.
Hope you guys are all doing well today. It's April the 28th. So, of course, if you guys know anything with current events, we have a few things to talk about today. But,
Getting into that in a moment. What do you guys, what's your beverage you got right now?
Well, I got plain water. I already had lunch.
yeah,
Train is eating German homemade bread.
yes, if you go to the Angry German's channel, he's going to be uploading how to make this bread.
For
If you can see here,
2.5 pounds for $2.
that's ridiculous. I mean, go try and get sincerely. And it's
Healthy, whole wheat.
I've never had homemade bread before, and besides biscuits, but an actual loaf of bread is delicious. It's got a really good wheat taste to it. But I'm also having it with a cream cheese spread that he gave me, a regular slice of cheese, and a piece of turkey, and it's delicious. And plus a glass of water.
And baking dog.
And
Macy.
Well, the thing is, you guys probably don't realize that the Angry German is like a mixture of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Martha Stewart, and MacGyver, because he's really able. He puts this stuff together for very cheap, but
yeah.
it's everything he does is beautiful and it's well crafted.
Budget friendly is a very good word.
Yeah, but it's high quality stuff.
Look at his countertops. I know he's gonna do a video on that as well.
Yeah.
And
I call it the poor man's kitchen. It's out of, I would say, money, misery.
Yeah,
you have to.
But you wouldn't know. You walk in here and
it's a very welcoming place, and especially the kitchen counter. It's made out of. He'll tell you in his video, but a little bit of it's hardwood counter, but it's it's just beautiful. He'll show you it's great, and this bread is just fantastic.
And I, of course, I have a beard. It's not very gym friendly, right? But I'm Native American, and that's how we fucking get down. I don't want these stereotypes.
They didn't start with drinking beer. Wasn't it the hard liquor stuff they normally do?
Paint, I think they. You go in Oklahoma and people there.
I don't think they were running around 100 years ago. Hey, you got beer? Hey, you got beer?
No, because Native Americans start off with a welcoming drink, like rubbing alcohol, and they just progress. But it's my grandma who had long black hair drank a lot of alcohol as well. But Coors Light's actually my favorite beer. It's all I drink, and I see him drinking it. I'm getting quite thirsty, but I still have work after this, so.
Basically, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole, but he is Native American, so.
He's allowed.
Yeah, he
got the license.
You can see the pain on my face. It's like the Trail of Tears is ingrained in every.
No, it's not. No, it's not. All right. So last week was our first time doing this, and we were kind of shaky, but I think as we progress, we'll really get a better idea of this. So we're going to start off today with fun fact and kind of work our way down towards Baltimore. So I guess we'll let Muhammad start with a fun fact, and I'll work his way back to me, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, so I think we're going to pretty much kind of almost keep it country related or culture related. So one thing I was going to talk about is a lot of people there they hear the Muslim countries or Iran. They talk Iran directly speaking to Israel, and they hear them say, "Death to Israel, death to America." What you guys probably don't realize is it's common for your father to be like, "Death to my son," It's kind of it's just basically like saying, "Go fuck yourself." It doesn't actually mean the total destruction of your
So it's
country.
It's a mistranslation.
Yeah, well, it's the word. The word.
So the meaning is totally
It's
different.
a dry translation.
Okay.
It loses the meaning of the actual word.
Wow.
So, but that means that the media, like newspapers, TV,
Misportrays, yeah.
Get a story to sell the story better. They say they want to kill us all.
I guess if we say "go fuck yourself," other countries could interpret that what is he going to do? Is he going to go perform self-sodomy
on stage?
Seriously, if you put it into that translation, it's a very good possibility.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Germans probably would.
Yeah, absolutely.
What fuck my? I would if I could.
Yeah.
There's no question.
I'd suck my own dick. I don't know.
Like the guy in the wheelchair from Scary Movie 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
myself in canes.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I've never thought of that. I've always had my family's been in the military, and sorry, I'm still eating this. It's so good. There's always been that disdain towards the Middle East, and since it's pretty much, I feel like you don't like me, I don't like you. Fuck you. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I've been. Kind of like
it's about as American as fucking.
I'm all America, bro. I mean, I've always been. If you don't like it in our country, then leave.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly, if it's such a bad place, and we'll get really more into that later on.
Yeah.
But but now knowing that gives me a better light on saying when you say death to America, you're just pretty much being an asshole. You're not actually wanting to kill me, which I think they still kind of want to kill us, but.
For sure, but
that came from a Persian.
You know what? America can't be that bad place to live. Can't be that bad. I mean, I think that million people would kill to have our place right now.
They have.
Here.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not a redneck, but I'm very American gung ho as well. I have the same mentality. Like, why would you live in a place? It's one thing to criticize maybe some policies, stuff like that, because you want it to be a better place.
They always will.
There's always room for improvement, but there are some people in America, and you talk about the culture war and stuff like that between liberals and Republicans. There's some people that want to see America fail. Like, they really do. And it makes no sense because you defend countries over America, but if you lived in those countries, you'd have less rights, less... whatever, but to go back to the main topic is like, if you really want to talk about like how our systems run, is that over the past 50 years, really the federal government's gotten more and more power, and they consolidate that power. But one way they do that is because they have the terror state. And so you kind of have to have always an enemy. Like, it harkens back to this idea of like, first you had the Nazis, which was a legitimate threat, but then you had communism, you had Russia, you had Cuba, and then you had Iran,
which is all in the
Iraq. But it's more like they don't present a legitimate threat to the homeland, maybe to the world or whatever. But you kind of have to have this level of terrorism out there for you to justify having all this federal power.
America has always been that way.
On our own
America's always been that way, and we do. But America's always been that way. It's pretty much, if you think about it this way. I saw a cartoon or something a long time ago that was pretty much like little Johnny America sitting at a desk. And Adolf Hitler was at a desk, and there was a little Asian kid at a desk. It was all relating back to World War II. And Poland and all these little countries, they were in a classroom. And so Adolf Hitler kept stealing, like he took Poland's books, these are mine. And then Poland looked at America and was like, "Not my problem. Why is he eating a hot dog or whatever?" And then he took like all of he pretty much taking all these little countries that were kids at the time, all their stuff, and America kept saying, "It's not my problem, not my problem." And all of a sudden, Japan came and slapped America in the face. It's like, now I'm in it. You know what I mean? So like, it takes one little small thing to kind of get America going, because they still want to promote peace throughout the world, because even though commies. I guess it's kind of getting off topic. Even though communists at the time, back, Bay of Pigs, John F. Kennedy, in that sense, were a threat of a sort, because we were worried about, especially in going into the 80s with Reagan, nuclear weapons, and with Cuba having that threat, Cuba only being 80 miles away from land. I mean, that was, in my opinion, a legitimate threat, because they had a lot of, possibility of a nuclear attack coming from Cuba, and luckily that all went away. So it is, America's got to be the bully sometimes, I think, so luckily we haven't had a war fought on our land
to keep the rest of the world safe.
Exactly. Sometimes,
or in order.
Sometimes you got to be an asshole like the angry German just to get things done the right way.
Well, and you have a lot of
you're welcome.
Especially among liberals, and I consider myself a liberal, but not only a certain type, only in ideology, not not in practice.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
What I mean by that is basically I'm not homophobic, I'm not racist. Like, that's basically what I mean by that. But there's so many hypocrites on the left, and they want to have it both ways. They want to say, when we don't go fight in a country and get involved in their politics, they want to say, where is America at? How come you don't have this heart to go save these people?
Yep.
But then they also, if you do go in there, they're going, wow, you're spending this much on the war budget, and we should be promoting peace. I mean, they want it.
I think you got it on the right side too. Not just on,
right.
but they keep it very hidden on the right side, on their own people. Not to. I mean,
it's
you got.
cheerleading.
What I think. You got yearly in, yearly out. You got switches. I mean, they switch from left to right, right to left.
Yes.
Tomorrow I'm going to be left, today I'm going to be right.
Yeah, depending on what, and people nowadays are not sticking to their... Macy's trying to get...
My dog is laying down here and he's collecting his empty aluminum beer bottles down on the floor right in front of
him. And
I'm
just trying to be sneaky about it because it's not like the camera can catch that it's a new beer. It's just slowly been this way.
How does it taste out of aluminum?
Great, I love it.
Try it.
I don't drink, you know that.
I'm a bad influence. Still time for bad influence.
How does heroin actually really feel? Well, here, just try it.
Well, here's the thing. It's like everyone's doing it at the gym. It's the new protein shake.
Yeah. See, don't put beer on bodybuilding.com. But no, I mean, I think that's, that was, everybody had good points in that. I think we're all on the same page. People nowadays are scared to actually voice their opinions on how they really feel day in and day out because of what somebody else is going to think. You know what? At the end of the day, you've got to exactly.
Which we
didn't go into the last week. You've got to, if you're, this side, you're like point A. Then I want you to, if you're going to be my friend, I can be point B all day long, but I want you to consistently be point A throughout don't be a bandwagon, political, member. Don't go, well, things are going this way, so I'm going to act this way. Or now that Bruce Jenner's a girl, I'm going to go ahead and say that transgender is cool all over the place because for the past however many years, it's been one of the biggest things in the world.
That's what Germans are totally opposite. We don't talk around the bush.
Yeah, exactly.
It's time wasting. We are straight forward.
Yep. To the bush.
When we don't like your nose, we tell you we don't like your nose. And Americans are the
way.
And you know what? That thing in the middle of your face. I'm not. How can I be polite to explain? But that thing in the middle of your face, that doesn't look so very good. When we say your nose, I don't like your nose.
It's fucked. Your nose is fucked.
I'd like to say that about Native Americans, but clearly when we have opinions, we just trade it in for casinos.
Oh, fair enough. Wow. I would love getting that continuous check every month, and no tax on my alcohol or cigarettes, please, and thank you.
Well, no, like my tribe, we don't get that because what actually happened is like when they moved the Indians to Oklahoma, they didn't know that there was oil underneath all this land, so they kind of fucked up. And the Osage tribe, my cousin was actually telling me this the other day, is that they found all these oil fields, and they were making tons of money. They were getting super fucking rich, and these white businessmen would marry into Osage with women.
To take over.
And, they would actually murder their wives. And
they
would take the land and the money. And
I believe it. I believe it 100%. I really do.
Yeah.
People talk about terrorism and all that, and, I'm all about us coming to the new country and us being able to start over here. But the crime upon the real slaves, the real people that got really messed up was Native Americans. If you don't appreciate that, then you can go somewhere because that is the truth. The people have been here since they were Vikings and they turned into and coming up like Vikings meeting Mayans and turning into
900
1492.
No.
He sailed the ocean blue.
Original Native Americans are Asian. They're coming from
Asia.
Asia.
Yeah, exactly. Because
900 BC, something like that.
They came across the Bering Strait when it was frozen.
And they look
Russia
Asian.
Absolutely. But then you also got to think, well, no, because then also Mayans and like an old like Central Mexican or like Central American would come up, and then there would be a mix. That's kind of how I believe. Which, I guess we'll never know.
Well,
but
I'm gonna put it to you this way. Actually, is that because I'm a history major. Okay, so for anyone out there wondering, I'm actually a history major.
He's history,
and so
your history.
There's actually traces of before Columbus come here. Actually, Muslims coming here, and China at one point. China actually had. Even today, they still have about 10% of their 20% of their population is still Muslim.
But Muslim is just
religion.
So it's a religion. So
it's a group,
so instead of saying so, how can you say that Muslims are on the ground? You found a bone and said, this guy prayed to a Hindu god. Or
well, okay, so
that's very good. How do you know
how do you know they're Muslims?
Exactly.
You just knew they were Asian, is what I'm assuming, of some sort.
Well, no. Okay, so there's actually in South America they have traces of the suffix "al."
Okay.
And stuff like that.
That makes sense.
And so the thing about whereas you're Christian, there's no official language of Christianity, but in Islam there is the official language is Arabic.
Okay.
And the reason for that is like when you read the Quran, if a lot of the you get dry translations I was talking about earlier with
Absolutely.
Deaf 2 and all this infidel talk, a lot of it it's lost in translation. In Arabic it means something totally different. So that's why there's a lot of atheists will talk to Muslims, and there's just no seeing eye to eye because they have two different translations of these texts. But so in South America, you actually have the suffix of that. But in China, actually, in about the year 1000, they sailed all the way to the bottom of Africa, actually, and they brought back a giraffe. Now, why would they bring? If you think about Chinese mythology, what does a giraffe look like? It looks like a dragon.
Yeah.
And so, it's pretty cool, but for whatever reason, they stopped doing that. But when Portugal and Spain actually started, moving geographically via the ocean, they actually learned from maritime travelers that was in the Bay of Bengal, which is in Southeast Asia.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so they got the astrolabe and a lot of things actually from Muslim travelers.
Which is a total trip, too. If you want to really go back to that time, you don't know what's going on. There's a guy that made you a makeshift map that said he's been across the world. Let's say you're going from, New York City, and you got to get to California by boat. Okay,
all Route 66.
Exactly.
In the 90s, I did that.
Oh no. The old
back in the 1990s.
The old Route 66,000 mile sea trip. Because think about it, you just kept traveling south. And at the time, you're nervous that at some point this is going to fall off, right?
Right.
But then you keep traveling south, and you keep seeing South America, and you're like, when are we going to ever get to go west? You're just going south, and then you just like, what the hell, and you're just worried. So I can imagine what those trips were like. I would have not wanted to be a seaman back then. I guess I was at one point in my life. Hi-oh! I need a drum roll. But yeah, I've been nervous. But get off all that fun stuff, I guess. But what's your fun?
How did we go from Native American to?
Well, because it all started off with translation.
American politics, terrorism.
It happens. So what's your fun fact, Ralph?
Fun fact.
Just
I don't know. Is it true that you are not allowed to hang your laundry outside in your yard? Here?
I don't know.
I have a washing machine.
I've always done it.
No, I like to hang expensive business shirts, something like that.
On a hanger.
On a hanger.
So it doesn't shrink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not in my dryer.
The fabric doesn't come.
And I read that you are not allowed
Why?
to hang. Against the law.
Are you serious?
Some 200-year-old laws. I don't know.
If somebody comes to my house, and says,
but another thing is,
you
have you ever seen someone hanging his laundry outside? I've never seen.
I've done it. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah, you live in the woods.
Yeah,
deep in the woods.
Yeah, but
no one else is.
I live in the cut. But it pisses me off. They're not allowed to the old American tradition is like seeing a woman outside picking clothespin out of and hanging clothes. But I can go through your neighborhood though, and you'll have knee-high grass, 3 crappy broken down cars in your front yard. The whole place looks like shit. But you're mad at me because I have clothes hanging. Like, what happened to the American dream? Like, seriously.
Right. If you have private ownership of something, why shouldn't you be able to do anything you want on your yard?
No, because when you live in a city limit, there's codes in the city limit, and the city is going after you. If you violate their rules and regulation, their codes, they're coming after you. If a code is no laundry hanging visible in your yard, whatever, they're coming after you.
Well, speaking of 200-year-old laws in Tennessee, dueling putting your back, walking 5 steps, turn around, shooting each other. That's it's still
So it's
legal
not
in
made-
Tennessee.
so
What a tense
So it's
situation.
really it's not a made up Hollywood Western movie.
No,
made
dueling
up.
is an actual
no,
thing.
that was a real thing.
No, dueling is
Actually,
an actual thing.
I mean, what I read also 200 years ago, their pistols, their guns, revolver, whatever, they were crappy. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't shoot someone on a 10 meter, or what is 10 meter in
30 feet.
30 feet distance.
No, because one,
But
either
what-
the gun would blow up, or like the gun would break, or
Yeah.
like the bullet would just fall out, and it was a.
Well, you're
it was
most likely to die of what?
infection.
Infection, yeah.
Because like if you got shot in the arm,
And it was, I think, the bullet explosion was full of
lead.
lead.
It was all lead, yeah.
Well, no, this is serious. In our country, actually, 2 statesmen killed each other. Aaron Burr, it was in 1804.
Yeah, Aaron Burr, I remember
Aaron
that.
Burr and Alexander Hamilton. Could you imagine today if Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they got
Yeah.
into it over a woman and they were like, we're going to have a
We're
duel.
gonna duel.
That's
We're
what they
gonna
did.
duel.
Over a woman?
Yep.
And
How
Alexander
stupid can I
Hamilton.
be?
Alexander Hamilton died, and he was the one that kind of suggested the federal bank and all this stuff. So
Absolutely.
he's an important player. You
Yeah.
have him dying.
Yeah,
because-
it's like over a woman. Like, well,
Oh, yeah,
who's
over-
next?
yeah,
He
yeah.
did have sex with his wife. So.
Over a woman.